What up,
What's
bro?
good? What's good? What's good?
How you feeling, man?
I'm chilling. I am chilling. It is getting warm. It's springtime. Listen, I'll
Yeah.
take it. I'll take it.
You got the Mets coming up on Friday, right? First home game?
Yeah. That's coming up soon. Uh, St. John's is playing today.
Yeah. This is their first game, right?
Yeah, it is their first game. But I
What-
hate them 5-12 matchups because there's always upsets in that 5-12 round, and so I'm
Yeah.
real nervous.
Bro, so I haven't been watching, but I did catch some games. And from what I'm seeing, man, a High Point looks real tough.
Mhm.
High Point looks and they talking smack too, bro, because I didn't realize they won the last 22 out of 23 of their games.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get matchups with like the power
No.
four conferences because they don't want to play them because so it's like how do you improve if you're not a power four and
Yeah.
then your rankings are you're coming in like a 12 seed or whatever, you're like one of the first teams out. You can't really tell like how legit you are as a school if you're not playing against like that quality opponent.
Yeah, how it ends up happening is right. There's a delay, right? So you have an amazing year, and
Hmm.
then you try to set a schedule where you get a little more increase the toughness of your schedule
Yeah,
for the next year. But if
yeah,
folks don't want to get down with you, if they think that you just had one good year, they're
yeah,
not going to play you. They're not going to waste it. They want the money from the big games, right?
yeah,
And so it's hard to break. It's hard to break through. I feel like the last school to actually be able to be like really move themselves into a power position is Gonzaga. After that, there really hasn't been anyone able to like change the strength of schedule over time.
yeah. No, you're right. And as I'm thinking about Gonzaga over time, yeah, it really hasn't been anybody besides them. But now they're perennial. Like, yo, you
Yeah,
gotta play me. You gotta come through me, right? So they've gotten
that's
themselves
right.
to a position to where, like, yo, you gotta come through Gonzaga in order to win this chip. So I
Yeah,
love that.
and I remember when nobody
What do you
even
think
knew
about
where
Sienna?
Gonzaga was. They're like, where
Oh,
the hell is
what did you think about Sienna?
Yo, I mean, really impressed for them to come as far as they did, and to play as well as they've been playing. And
Yeah,
we see Sienna a lot in the New York area, and so I know that they were a good team, but I didn't think they were that good. So kudos to
yeah,
them. And I think their biggest problem is that they need a new division, right? Like they need to step up to one of the conferences that they can actually get some real run,
yeah.
because their conference isn't going to make it for them.
Well, so that and I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you watched the game, but like he only played 5 players.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's the
So
that's
and,
the
and,
top
and
Tibbet.
so I made a comment.
Tibbs,
I was like, bro, that's
Tibbs,
Tibbs.
that's
There's no difference between what he did and what Tibbs did. Like yo, if you got somebody that's shooting 3 for 12, I'm sure that you can bring somebody off the bench that that can do something.
I don't know. I mean, I think when you get that far riding the dogs on your team, you're gonna stick with them, right? Because the last thing you want as a coach is to get that far, make a make a replacement, and suddenly the dude who could get hot is sitting on your bench. Like, especially when you were a young, like, he's only been an assistant for a long time. This is like one of his first 2 or 3 years as a head coach. And so you're still in that second guessing yourself. And so you don't want to roll the dice with a hand you're not sure when one of your people can pick it up. And so like
Yeah.
I think that's the big thing, is that it's hard to coach from that position.
Yeah, but then a lot of these coaches, though, right? They're not coaching for the job that they have. They're coaching for the job that they want. And
Yeah.
so, what Jerry McNamara, and I said this, and I'll say it again, Jerry McNamara was coaching for that Syracuse job. He wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily, I don't think that he was necessarily coaching to win. I think,
No.
and if he was coaching to win, he was coaching to win for that job, not necessarily for the program.
Yeah.
If
But
that
I
makes
mean, look, he won a national championship there. He was an assistant coach there for a long time. And so the reality is like, that's the job he wants. I'm sure he ain't hiding it from nobody.
but he's not gonna get the job. Like
He's
they're
not
not
gonna
gonna move
get
him.
it, but
Nah, you're gonna go for that program to thrive, for Syracuse University basketball to thrive. You have to go with someone that has rebuilt programs, or someone that has an established name, or someone that's willing to leave in the NBA in order to come down to develop players to make it to where people want to come to the university, right?
I
It's
mean,
just not as prestigious as it used to be in terms of when I think about Syracuse.
well, I mean, I think the head coach means a lot, right? So it's either you're a program that produces a lot of, folks in the draft, right? Because then you feel like you go there, you can do well. It's a coach that you think has produced a lot of folks who end up going to the NBA, right? Or it's a name that folks want to play for, right? It's like someone who is famous, and there's connective tissue. I feel like, especially with the way folks can change colleges now, it's all about who's going to get into the NBA fastest.
Yeah, that's crazy. I like what Calipari is. I like how Calipari talks about the development of 17 and 18-year-olds as opposed to going to the portal. Because like at some point, you're going to have to develop these 17 and 18-year-olds and retreat back to just like how the system used to work, because the system as it is, I think, is broken. So I want to make it clear. I am not against student athletes being paid. I wish when I was a student athlete, I was getting paid. Right, it would have made me stay and play longer. But
the approach that we're using right now to get them paid is flawed.
Yeah, I don't. That's gonna resort to a broken system. So WNBA got a raise. Before we jump into these topics, they got some. They're about to get some bread. I think a max deal is like 1.4.
Yeah, money's about to start coming in, but listen, that's what happens when you start getting viewership, right? Like, I think viewership is the deal. Butts and seats, and being on TV, and when you have players that folks want to see come to, as much as they've been hyping up Caitlin Clark and all the folks that are
trying to get this canceled.
Right, I know. I said let me not get canceled. That's why I stopped naming players. That's why I stopped. I was like, I named nobody. But the reality is like there's a product now that more and more people want to go see, and that's where the money starts happening. The money starts happening when there are more butts and seats in the stadiums and the TV deals.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Let's jump in. So first topic, right, is it's the earnings test for your degrees, right? And so this is your job. Like you think about this stuff all the time. And so, you hear people say it all the time, like college ain't for everybody. College aint for everybody. And so when you hear that, like, what are your immediate thoughts? And like, how do you reconcile the return on investment for a degree?
Yeah, look, I've always believed that we need to be thinking about return on investments for our degrees. That doesn't necessarily mean that I think we should not allow colleges to offer certain degrees, that we should create and disincentives for students who want to study certain topics. I think what's most important is that we help students make informed decisions. So the concept of return on investment, I think, is a really important one, because I think students should know, what am I outlaying in this, for my education? What does that mean to my post-graduation earnings potential and employability potential? It's what we espouse all the time in my organization to our students, right? This is about you finding social and economic mobility. I think what comes in is when we start taking choice away from students by saying, well, you can't even major in this because, we're not going to allow you to use financial aid for this, or we're not going to allow this school to be accredited for this topic, right? Like, that's where I think we're starting to get into some dangerous territory. I think we need to give students as much information as we possibly can, and let them be successful and make the decisions they need to make. It's their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I want to just clarify something real quick. So when we talk about college, right, especially at some of the high performing schools, it's not necessarily to prepare your kid to go to college. It's if your child makes the decision to go to college, they're going to be successful at the college of their choice. That's a difference, right? And so, of course, there's a pathway to go to college, but there's also a pathway to go to trade school and a pathway to just be a productive citizen in society. And so no one's saying that college is the only way. There are a myriad of different ways in order for you to be successful. But from what I've seen, college is probably the best way in terms of us having those robust conversations in terms of how to solve generational poverty.
Yeah.
Those are the best kinds of conversations, because like you can make college affordable for you if you pick the right school, right? So like you're not dropping out encumbered with debt and like all these things that people say against the narrative of going to college. Like you're gonna come out with all this debt or whatever. Like if you go to a state school, like you're not really gonna come out with that much debt. If you come from like very little and you can qualify for like an EOP program, you're coming out with like bottom level debt, right?
I think I think this has been the problem, though, right? Because this is where I'm gonna get on my high horse, and you may want to sort of, protect yourself.
And I shall.
I think for a long time we have, because we were unable to properly resource school counselor offices and properly train school counselors to help students identify their best post-secondary, post-high school options. We started to use the heuristic as a country, which was like, get into any college, just having a college degree is great for you. There was no real thought about being intentional about matching a student with a college that was a good fit for them academically, that was a good fit for them financially, and that was a good fit for them culturally. And so we just push students into college without sort of rhyme and reason about it. We sort of all we talked about was like college. And what we created was a lot of students making uninformed choices, going to schools that were way too unaffordable for them, right? And not understanding that how their degrees and that debt connected to each other. So we created this issue because we didn't want to properly fund K through 12 to support students in making informed decisions, right? My organization exists to help students make informed decisions about post-secondary options. And so we created this issue but now we're swinging the other way. Now it's the like, well, college isn't for everybody. And you can go get this trade and have a great first job and all. Like, I'm not suggesting that narrative isn't true, but I think it's too simplistic. We're trying to use these really simple things that we think are easy to stick in students' heads or in professionals' heads, and they're the wrong messages, right? We want our students to have choice-filled lives. They need to make informed decisions about what life after high school looks like. And to be able to do that, you need to present them with as much information, quality information, and guidance as possible. And we need to staff our schools, and we need to provide students with the resources around them to help make those decisions in a high quality way.
Shout out to the guidance counselors. I don't know what this guy is talking about.
I'm not throwing shade at school counselors. I am not throwing shade at school counselors. But you know how it is, because in most schools counselors, this isn't their only job. They're doing testing, they're doing social emotional. Yeah. So how much time does a school counselor actually have to do like real quality college planning with every student that they're working with? It's just not there, right? And so we need to make sure that we invest more.
Yeah. And so I think one of the ways in which we can make sure that students are prepared for the road to college or the road of their choice in life is in these secondary programs offer partnerships with colleges, right? So like Kick and Take, they can get their gen eds out of the way, right? So like I think ultimately for us out on Long Island, what I would like to see is for at the end of high school, students to have their associate's degree. So if you're going out into the college world with 60 credits that are paid for by your high school, then we can't really have a conversation about what's affordable and what's not affordable, because you're only paying for 2 years as opposed to paying for 4 years, and you already have your prereqs out of the gate done. Yeah. And so I think that more high schools should shift towards like what their offerings are in terms of offering those
early college, dual enrollment, advanced placement, those courses that give students a leg up on getting credit towards their degree.
Advanced placement, I'm with it, but I'm not, because like I don't want to see any like 4.3 GPAs, because
but that's not that is that 4.3 GPA is the way the schools are leveraging advanced placement.
The weighted,
right. But like advanced placement, as it was designed, was really about early college, right? And I think that is the way we need to be thinking about it.
Yeah, but a 4.3 GPA is a turnoff for me.
It is.
Because some people still put the GPAs on their resume. I don't know why. I'm just glad you graduated.
Let me tell you something right now. That would not have been me.
No, not at all. Well, actually, no, I could have done it, but I wouldn't have done it, because it's just like, nah. Why do that, bro? So I have a question for you. It's not related to the topic, but I think when we're talking about literacy, talking about education and whatnot, like
Yeah.
I have to bring this up. So I was looking at some data, and it looks like 54% of folks in the United States read below a 6th grade reading level, and I think that number in totality was about 130 million people that read below a 6th grade reading level. But yet, I'm pretty sure 100 million of those people are out reciting things like, this person is a DEI hire. And I don't understand. How can you say somebody that has a doctorate degree and you can barely read is a DEI hire? Like, bro, how does that even make sense? Make sense for me?
It doesn't make sense. The concept of a meritocracy in this country, we've talked about this before, is the biggest falsehood in the entire world. But yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. And not only do I think we have, low literacy rates or reading on 6th grade level, I also think we reinforce that, right? When we think about the grade level that most, the average newspaper or the average sort of like online news article is written at, particularly now with the sort of increasing use of AI to write a lot of that work, like they want it to be broadly applicable. So they're writing it at a 6th grade level. And so, folks aren't also engaging with material that sort of pushes them to read at a higher level. Right. And so if you're not engaging with content at that level, you'll never improve.
Yeah. And so every time I hear this comparison, or what did Trump versus Obama? And the first thing that I say is like, Obama could read. Like,
well, I mean, I think it's the one I've heard a lot lately is like they continue to talk about AOC as was only a bartender, right?
He graduated from what is it, top 150?
Yeah, she went to BC.
Yeah,
she went to BC. She has a.
Did she go to BC or UB? No, she went to UB, University of Boston.
Was he university? Oh, maybe UB. Yeah, but I know UB. She has a master's degree, right? Like this.
I didn't even know she had a master's degree. Shout out to her.
This is sort of an accomplished person, and usually the people saying this don't have those types of credentials.
Hey, right? Because listen, Steve, that teleprompter be kicking his ass. We're watching him, right? And you could tell when he's like you can tell when he checks out, right? When he checks out and he starts freestyling, you're like, all right, that word was too hard.
What does he call it? The weave. He calls it the weave. He was weaving. He's like, he's just weaving. But some of the best television happens when he weaves. Did you see the other day? He had the I think it was the prime minister or the ambassador from Japan in his office.
Oh,
and
God.
he was like, Japan knows a little bit about surprises.
Pearl Harbor, like what? What did y'all elect? And then he the other day, that is our punishment for electing a black president. I don't care what nobody says. Like this is this is the result of that, bro. This gotta be.
It's wild. And then he outed that other congressman, that poor congressman who's dealing with health issues, whose doctor gave him a tough prognosis, and he basically announces to the world this person's prognosis is wild. It's wild.
So, all right. So speaking of which, because we're talking about associate's degrees and whatnot, right? So, bro, Mark Wayne Mullen, the senator from Oklahoma who's going to be conferred for DHS secretary, right? That's all but certain that he's going to do that. He has an associate's degree in construction technology. Bro, if you had to, even if you could sell me, if you were like, yo, he has an associate's degree in criminal justice, I'm like, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take even that. If he took some classes online and was like, all right, there were criminal justice aligned, I'll even take that.
Or if we could ever confirm whether or not he has experience in, like he could have not had those degrees, but he could have had experience in law enforcement or in the military. Like neither of those.
You got to have 60 credits in order to be law enforcement.
No, I get it. What I'm saying is, though, like I either want degree or experience.
Yeah,
and I think we might be missing on both of those things.
Yeah, he only has aggression.
I don't know.
He has the aggression of a cop.
Well, I think those are questions we should be asking the person who's supposed to be one of our top,
If Rand Paul,
well, right, they got bad blood. Nah. They don't like each other.
I know, but I'm saying that Rand Paul was like, yo, I'm not gonna let this go. I'm not. Like you said, you thought I should have been killed. Shout out to Rand Paul. And so, but who gives him the vote to get out of Fetterman, bro? I blame Fetterman on the Bernie Bros because Bernie came down to Pennsylvania, and let me take that back. I don't blame that on the Bernie Bros. They be out there, boy. I'm moving on. Yeah, the Bernie Bros.
What's the phrase? With friends like these.
Yeah, the Bernie Bros will come out. But listen, people in Pennsylvania. Shout out Maritza. She's in Pennsylvania. People in Pennsylvania knew. Black Pennsylvanians knew what type of person Fetterman was because of interactions that he had with the Black community. And so they were on soapboxes like, do not elect this guy. This guy is, and then he went through his health challenges. And sometimes when you go through health challenges, people feel sorry for you. And, they vote for you.
Yes, I think he was the one that was running against Dr. Oz. Was that who he ran
against?
Yeah,
but see, that's what we do all the time, right? We go from the good versus evil, and so we had to vote.
Not good versus evil. I'm just saying.
No, I'm sorry, evil versus evil in this space. But but we're skipping a step. There was a primary, and there was other people. There was other people that were more than capable of doing that job, but didn't get elected because of whatever reasons folks want to hold them to account for.
I mean, I think the other thing that is true is that often when you get elected, your main focus becomes keeping your job rather than doing what's right. And when the focus is like, I want to do whatever, right? Yeah, like I want to keep my job, and so I'm going to play this centrist, middle of the road, show that I'm not, I can be my own person.
Yeah. We didn't elect you to be your own person. We elected you to do the things that we wanted you to do, and so that's how you're going to lose your job. Like it's a false narrative in terms of how you keep your job.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, that's going to be one of the
4 more years
to be primary, bro. He's going to be primary. He has to be. Like, there's no way that you keep Democrats intact without primarying him. He needs to be primary. Even if you lose Pennsylvania, even if Republicans come in, even if he turns to be a Republican and still wins, that's okay. Because he's going to vote for them anyway. I just want him out of our caucus. Like, what?
What do you mean our caucus? No, you're a registered Republican.
I am, but based off of how things, bro, I can't. I am a registered Republican, and so are you. Don't try to out me.
I didn't say our caucus.
Listen, I think that the next time that I vote Republican, probably gonna be 12 years from now. We gotta let all this stuff, like all this stuff has got to move and filter through and whatnot. It's like it's like bad water. It's like, yo, you're gonna have to have bottled water for the next 12 years, or you're gonna die drinking this water. Yeah.
You need a filtering. Like you need some time to cleanse.
So definitely some time to cleanse. All right, so damn, we got caught up. All right, so I want to talk about this next issue because I think that this is important. So there's a federal loan cap controversy that's happening on who's being labeled as non-professionals. And so currently we got teachers and nurses that are being tapped as non-professionals. And so there's a cap on the amount of student loans that they can take out at $100,000 when it used to be $200,000. And so what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, we have had a sort of we have been in need of nurses and teachers for the better part of a decade now, and we're making it harder and harder to produce nurses and teachers. To pretend as if those are not professional positions, roles is ridiculous. But I think this is in line with what I think has been decades of disrespect for those two professions, which are vital professions to the future of this country. And so it's sad to see anyone pretend as if those roles are not really critical professional roles, but that's what's happening.
Yeah. Bro, it's always going to be a need for teachers. And teachers are leaving in droves because of things like this, because of policy decisions that are not aligned with.
And nurses say it's the same with nurses, right? I mean,
nurses get paid a little bit better though.
They get paid a little bit better, but they get worked like savages, right?
Yeah, they do.
And so, right, and so like they work crazy hours. And let me tell you, I had to spend a little time in the emergency room not too long ago. and what I will say is, man, I was thankful for them nurses.
Yeah. Shout out to the nurses, man. Shout out to everybody that's on the front lines that's keeping this country together, man, because that's important. Especially the teachers. Like teachers, listen, let me tell you something. As being a teacher and seeing teachers in the work, teachers, there's a lot that's put on their plates in terms of what they're expected to do. And we come up with these inventions to try to make lessen the load for what teaching, and it only adds to it, right? And then you have parents that are not necessarily the same as our parents. So like if a teacher called home when we were growing up, it's like, all right, there's gonna be some action that's gonna happen, right? A lot of these kids are doing the same things at home that they're doing at school. And so parents don't really understand, like, how that behavior impacts the rest of the school or the rest of the class. Like, I'd be mortified if someone called me and they were like, hey, your kid's behavior is impacting 28 other kids from learning, right? Like, we're going to do something, and we're going to do something drastic to where that stops, because everybody should be able to learn, and they shouldn't not be able to learn in spite of one kid or parents not doing what they need to do in order to get their kids on track.
Yeah. I mean, I think that what is far too often true about the way folks sort of view themselves as teachers is that we take these one-off examples of bad teachers, and that becomes the archetype for teachers, right? We get the rubber room teachers, or we get the teachers who mail it in after a certain time, or we get and that becomes the archetype for teachers. But you ask any human being who are some of the most influential people in their lives, they're going to start naming teachers as part of that work, right? As part of that list of folks. Many of us have we remember fondly about the teacher who made the biggest difference in our lives, right? We don't tell those stories. We tell the stories of the teacher who does wrong by students, and suddenly that becomes the model for what teaching is. And I think that's a problem. Look at Marissa. Yes. Nurses are being worked extremely hard as well. Both.
The school nurses, man. School nurses, there's always somebody running in that office, and then them having to like remember all these names to make these calls. Shout out to the school nurses, man. They out here killing it.
Nobody has checked me for scoliosis since I was in the 5th grade. So shout out to the school nurses in 5th grade who checked me for scoliosis.
All right, bro. Final thoughts. What you into?
I'm feeling really good that the summer is starting to warm up. I'm looking forward to warmer temperatures this cold winter. I'm happy to hopefully have it pass us as quickly as possible. Looking forward to what is going to be a really interesting year, both from political perspective, both from a personal perspective. And so I'm feeling good. So it's bright and shiny, and I feel spring upon us.
Bro, it just changes your mood, man. I get it.
Yeah.
When you have that. My final thought is very simple, right? So like growing up, if you had a person that was experiencing some mental health challenges, the neighborhood would just be like, oh, that person's crazy. Right. And I think that those labels have kind of stuck with folks. And so I challenge you to not just label people, but also advocate for them to get the much needed help that they need. Therapy should not be something that we shy away from. We should be leading people towards therapy, leading people towards making sure that they're taking care of their mental health. So I challenge you to challenge anyone that is in need of mental health services to get those services.
Facts.
All right, folks, we'll see you next week. Peace.
Maybe with G.